All right, so y'all, this is a question out of the homework. This is question number 3 out of 1.5. And it says a projectile is launched from the ground level with an initial velocity v0 feet per second. Okay, so I'm going to keep that in mind. Neglecting air resistance, the height in feet, t seconds after the launch is given by, okay, so they give me an equation here. And it says, find the times when the projectile will reach part A, a height of 128 feet, and then B, returning to the ground when V0 is 96 feet per second. Okay, so y'all, first thing I'm gonna do, let's do part A. So they give us an equation here. S equals negative 16t squared plus V0 with a t. Now y'all, right here they told us that V0 is 96. So I'm going to erase this plus V0, and I'm going to put a plus 96, right? Because that's what my V0 is. Okay, the other thing is that the letter S stands for the height. So y'all, my height is going to be 128. So right here underneath the letter S, I'm going to write 128. Okay. And we're going like this. Okay, so y'all, if you remember when we were doing these problems here, the one thing that I mentioned is that in doing this type of a problem, it makes it easier if the number in front of the t squared is not negative. And right now it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that guy over, but then I also got to move the 96. So that gives me a 16t squared, not a plus, but a minus 96, right? Because we're crossing the equal sign. So the sign of my number is going to change. The 128 was already there, so that sign's going to stay the same. Now, I'm not certain, but I'm going to try to do this. I think I might be able to divide everything here by 16. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to try just to make my numbers a little bit smaller. So I know that that can be divided by 16. I need to check 96 and 128. So let me grab my calculator here. Let me clear this out. 96 divided by 16. Does it go in nice and neat? Yes, it does. 128 divided by 16. Does it go in nice and neat? Yes, it does. So excellent. Also, it's going to make our lives easier. This is now going to become a t squared. I believe this went in 6 times, and I believe that went in 8 times. Okay, so now I'm going to write this problem down again on the next page. So t squared minus 6t plus 8 equals 0. Okay, y'all, if I'm going to factor this guy out, remember what I'm going to do here. I'm looking for 2 pieces that are going to multiply to t squared. So we're going to try using a t and another t. Now, in this last spots here, y'all, I need 2 numbers that multiply to 8. So when I think of 8, y'all, I think of 1 and 8, and I also think of 2 and 4. But the numbers that I need, y'all, are the numbers that are going to add up to a negative 6. So if I really wanted to get a negative 6 here, y'all, look, we could go negative 2 and negative 4, because a negative times a negative is still a positive 8. But if I were to add those 2 numbers together, minus 2 plus minus 4, that would give me a minus 6, right? So look, let's go minus 2. Let's go minus 4. Okay, now, y'all, we're going to set each part equal to 0. So t minus 2 equals 0. T minus 4 equals 0. When we move that 2 over, y'all, that's going to be a positive 2. When we move that 4 over, y'all, that's going to be a positive 4. Now, just to give you guys a visualization of what's going on here, I'm going to come back to my original problem, okay? And I'm going to read this, y'all, and I want us to read this like just, getting an idea of what's happening here. It says, look, a projectile is launched from the ground. So, y'all, today is January 31st. Think about 31 days ago. It was New Year's Eve, right? New Year's Eve, we're celebrating the beginning of the new year. Some people decide, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go buy a bottle rocket. It's got a little fuse. We're going to light it. Y'all, when we shoot that bottle rocket, right, that bottle rocket goes up, y'all, and then boom, it comes back down. What we're asking ourselves here is, at what point did it hit 128 feet? Well, it hit it after 2 seconds. And then again, y'all, it hit it after 4 seconds. It hit it after 2 seconds on the way up, and then it hit it after 4 seconds on the way down, okay? So that's in essence what we did in part A. So look, let me scroll back one more time because there is a part B. Okay, part B is right here, y'all. When is it going to return to the ground? Okay, so I'm going to try to clean up some of this. Well, actually, you know what? I'll write it over here a little bit again. If you remember, y'all, our original problem looked like this. Negative 16t squared, and we had that plus 96 for the t. We want to know when is it going to hit the ground. Okay, so look, y'all. Here was our bottle rocket, right? Went up, boom. We want to know when is it going to hit the ground, okay? So what we're going to do, y'all, is when it hits the ground, the height happens to be 0, okay? So just like I did before, y'all, I'm going to move both those pieces over. 16t squared minus 96t equals 0. I'm going to divide them by 16 again. That's going to give me t squared minus 6t equals 0. Y'all, from here, we can factor out the letter t, and we have a t minus 6. So now, y'all, we're going to set both pieces equal to 0. The first one is going to be t equals 0. The second one is going to be t minus 6 equals 0. And when we move that 6 over, my friends, that's going to give us a positive 6. I want you to notice two things. There are 2 times when the rocket is at the ground level. The first one is at 0. The second one is at 6, right? Look, y'all, here is my rocket. It's going up in the air, it comes back down. When is the first time it's at the ground? At 0. When does it hit the ground? At 6. And y'all, I believe part B says, when is it going to return to the ground, y'all? So for part B, the only number we would look at would be 6. That's when it returns to the ground, okay? I hope this made sense. If y'all have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to help.